Go where your best prayers take you, unclench the fists of your spirit and take it easy. Breathe deeply of the glad air and live one day at a time. Know that you are precious and learn to trust. Amen. Well, good morning to all of you. It's great to see you on this kind of rainy morning. At least it's a bit warm. A few shout-outs. Jason is away today. He is with his wife, Edie. Her father died over the weekend, so prayers for them. The burial was yesterday, and EJ has been awesome carrying us through a busy weekend, and I thank her for all her work. I don't know if y'all caught BIR this week, but Claire Gentry was on and featured on a report of parents using technology with their children, and she was so articulate and so wonderful. I just wanted to say, gosh, it was great. Go find it and see what she was talking about. It was really worth hearing. And James Newbern, who's hiding back here, he's behind me, was in the paper. Do you know he's the assistant director of UT Trial Gardens, and he said in the paper, regardless of what I think or you think, it is still winter. Thank you, James. Well, James is correct, of course. This is typical East Tennessee weather. I know that. But spring is here because my huge star magnolia, James, is gigantic and blooming beside my house. My Lenten roses and daffodils are full tilt. And do you know what the next sign is? And this is the real one. NASCAR has started. NASCAR starts and spring is here. It started last week. Don't look at me that way. Come on, people. Get with it. I really do watch NASCAR. I'm sorry, I really do. It's awful. No, it's wonderful. The NASCAR 500, the Daytona 500 was on last week. Spring has arrived. All those fast cars going 200 miles an hour, edge of the seat, inches apart, bumper to bumper, spectacular wrecks, and there were tons of them. It was fabulous. And then the race ends. Chase Elliott, I say all that to really get to a great quote. Chase Elliott, who was a driver, his father was a driver, and Chase was one of those that wrecked rather spectacularly. It's amazing he was not hurt. Said this after the race: "The safest place is to be out front, and everybody wants to be there. That is the problem." Thought, there you go, another smart idea. Actually, isn't that not wonderful? Because I want you to hold on to that idea. You know, we're not at a racetrack this morning. I know, I'm being playful with you. We're in church. But you know, we're in the season of Lent. The word Lent means spring. It is springtime for us. We're trying to do a little something different. Shed a little bit, grow a little bit. And maybe Elliot's observation about race cars is really an observation for us this morning. You know, we are really trying to take a deeper look during this period of time. And it kind of is a funny fit. We're in winter, but moving to spring. I'm like you, I want to be outside. It's getting warm. I want distractions. I want to move on. And yet, this time just keeps calling us to look a little deeper. Take another look inside. As that hymn that we had commissioned for us, that, by the way, the hymn that we sang again this morning was commissioned for the cathedral. It's a wonderful effort, beautiful. You know, we are a distracted people, aren't we? And I don't know about you, but really it fits. And I think it fits most of you because I live in your lives, is that life often feels like a race. There are lots of cars and competitors out there, and I'm just one of them. And it is a race that goes around and around the same track. And there is a lot of bumping and hitting and scraping and banging, as the Southerners say. And most of the time we don't even mean to do it, but it happens. And it is happening to you. I know your lives, I know my life. It is the nature of the race of life. And you know, most of us want to be in the lead. Don't miss it. All of us want to be in the lead. We want to be out front because we want to stay ahead and get ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do you really do that? How do you really get ahead in this race of life? And what do you have to do to stay in the lead? What is that? And what is it that awaits us at that checkered flag finish line? What is waiting you? What is waiting for you? What are you waiting for? Life is getting us to work a little harder about being prominent or famous or having more money or power and importance, influence, a comfortable life. Those are all good things. And by the way, the gospel really does not put them down. That's one way to interpret the gospel, but I don't believe it. I think it says all things of life are good in proportion. In proportion. You know that Billy Graham died this week, I know. Had a life filled with ministry, good thoughts, hard work. But he spent a career, in my humble explanation and thought, doing and saying about one thing, actually. And it was this. He spent his career telling us that there is something more in life. He said it almost every sermon. And I bet you can hear his voice. I can still hear his voice. Saying something like, we can earn and win all manner of good things, but not everything. And that for him, and for us sitting here this morning, is a deep relationship with the people around you. Something that is more than just passing. And also a deep relationship with God. And if you weren't after that, you would not be here. Why would I talk about it out on the city street? I might. It wouldn't get any attention. You're here because of that. You're here searching for a deeper relationship with God. We take each other seriously in that effort. You see, today Jesus goes on to say that there is something more. Listen to his words. Deny yourself and pick up your cross. Deny yourself and pick up your cross. And I've thought about that passage a lot. Many of you have. I've read about it, thought about it. And I needed a little help. And I found a spiritual teacher who was writing about this. And I loved what he said. I'm going to share it. He said, Jesus wasn't talking about daily burdens. He's not talking about you got to pick up the kids, do the laundry, go to the store. That is not what he's talking about. Do you understand when he says deny yourself, he links it directly to crosses. And for Jesus, a cross means only one thing. It means the Romans getting the person to carry their cross to their death as a means of their death. Do you understand that Jesus is talking about dead people walking? He's looking at the people around him and saying, you're like dead people walking. You're dead, even though you're alive. Maybe he's saying something like, deny what is keeping you from walking around like you are dead. Deny what is keeping you from being truly, truly alive. That might take a little thinking. And it has given me a lot to think about the last couple of weeks. You see, those things are spiritual in nature. Those are what we do here together. They are part of our spirituality, our religion, our faith. That's what this business is about. Well, I know you know that the Olympics are almost over. They are doing the final ceremonies. I have my pair of Olympic socks on today. I have to put them all away. And I've been watching and watching. And I wonder if you have seen this young woman. Her name is Sarah Hendrickson. Did you see her? She didn't catch your attention because she wasn't on the podium. They kind of focus, it seems, a lot on the gold medal winners, the people on the podium. You may not recognize her name. She's interesting. She's one of those crazy young people who goes up on that tower that's like 10 stories and then goes 38 degrees down at about 70 or 80 miles an hour. And then she jumps. And then she tries to lean over her skis, get her head down to the tip of her skis, and to land without killing herself. It is fascinating stuff. Holy smokes. Just picking that right balance. And in the previous Olympics, she was the best in the world. She was number one. And 6 months before Sochi, she took an horrendous crash at the bottom. Destroyed her knee, her leg, her hip. 6 months to Sochi, and she had surgery and competed in the last Olympics. I don't know if you remember her. She was number one in the world. And after the competitions there that she survived without any injury, she was number 21. She went from first to 21st. Amazing. So what happened after that? Well, that was 4 years ago. In the in-between time, she's had 5 surgeries and continued to work hard to try to get her leg and knee and everything back into shape so she could compete. And there she is in Pyeongchang, but this time just another competitor, almost not even heard from. And how did she do? She finished 19th. But I want you to do something for yourself. Pick up a copy of Sports Illustrated or go and look online and watch her last jump. Because she gets up there, she launches, she's in the air, she's leaning out, and she's smiling. And then her smile turns to this massive grin. She is all in, every bit of her. It's explosive to see her face. She said afterward, I was 19th, but I think I was smiling more than anybody else in the competition. She said, that's what I do well. I smile and have fun. After all, aren't we ski jumping and we're in the Olympics? Who doesn't get that? What could be better than this? And then they asked her, well, what are you going to do now that your competition has to be over? Your leg has just held up all that it can do. She said, I got out of that more than what most people can even reach for in life. Gosh, how blessed I am. And I tell you what I started doing. Every time I went to the top of that run, every time I jumped for all the little girls who looked up at me and said, one day I'm going to do that. Do you see this young 23-year-old Olympian is teaching us a lesson in spirituality? Because that's the language she is talking. She is living spirituality. You see, her life has moved beyond just simple competition and placing and winning and medals and honor. She has moved to something totally deeper and more relevant, actually, to the rest of her life. I am convinced of something, that the only way that we know that things that we are racing for, competing for, are not working is when you and I can't and don't find happiness and creativity and spontaneity and satisfaction and purpose in life. That is where spirituality, your spirituality and mine, kicks in. That is when we need to be in touch with our spiritual soul, because there is not another answer. You cannot work hard enough going around that track. And you know how I know that? Because there are a bunch of ski jumpers right here sitting among us, and ones that have taught me for 63 years beyond St. John's. Most of those people have been there 70s and 80s. And they're still climbing that ski lift and they're jumping. And while their competitive days may be behind them, they continue to show us how to push off and fly through the air and live life fully. They show us how to live life with a smile on their face, how to face adversity, how to live beyond competition and worrying about where they place in the competition. They are showing us how to live resilience and trust. They are teaching us that how to live may not be easy sometimes for us, but it is still wonderful and meaningful and purposeful. They are our mothers and fathers in the faith. Thank God for them. And one day, whatever age you are, you will be asked to be one of them. We pass this along generation to generation. You see, we teach each other how to allow our spirituality and faith propel us through life, to have a little trust, to have a little connection. You see, they teach. Hopefully we can learn what Jesus was trying to promise us, that He's trying to give us life and life abundantly. That abundance is nothing less than the lack of anxiety and fear and terror. It is all of that. Those things that drive out our peace, our joy, our love, our connection, our meaning, our purpose, and drive us away from the very connection that will absolutely save us, which is our connection to our Father God. And you know what the great news is? This Lent, this Sunday, every Sunday, this day, every day, is that each of us can have it right now. Right now. Right now. And tomorrow. And every day. Amen.